All right, so I haven't been making these videos lately. I kind of touched on it in my last video about how I don't really think this is the best year for boxing. There's been a couple of like weaker kind of fights, and I think coming off of last year being such an awesome year in boxing, this wasn't really a bad year in boxing, but it wasn't a great year in boxing. When you compare it to the year before, it seems shitty. I've also been having like health things going on. I was in the hospital for like 4 or 5 days, things like that. I'm not going to re-say every single thing that I said on the last video, but in case you happen to miss that one and you wondering where I've been, that's where I've been. And to be quite honest with you, I wasn't going to make this video at all. Because quite frankly, there's still a part of me that hopes this fight doesn't happen. Um, the reason that I am making the video at all, and the only reason that I'm making the video at all, is because Mike Tyson has been my favorite fighter since far back as I can remember. I was born in '84, so let's say since 1990. You know what I mean? I probably was watching him before that. To be honest with you, I just don't have a memory, a conscious memory of it. Anyway, when this fight first got canceled, there was some part of me inside that was happy because, and I'm just gonna be quite honest with you, I just don't believe in my head that in any world, in any scenario, that a 60-year-old man should be fighting a 28-year-old boxer. Now, first of all, I want to get this out here. We need to stop calling Jake Paul a YouTuber. I mean, that's enough now, right? There's a Mayweather channel boxing. There's a Mayweather channel YouTube page as well. Does that make the Mayweathers YouTubers? They're boxers, bro. You know what I'm saying? So just because you were on Disney when you were fucking 8 years old, and I don't even know how old he was. I've never seen. I didn't even know he was on Disney until like a month ago. I heard somebody say it. Just because you were on Disney when you were a kid, just because you have a YouTube channel, does not mean anything at all. You could be gay. You could be completely gay and homosexual. If you know how to fucking fight and you know how to fucking box and you're in good shape, you know how to box, right? So I think we kind of got to stop calling this kid a YouTuber. Has he beaten like real legit boxers? No, he hasn't. But the fight with Tommy Fury was close. Now, Tommy Fury is no Mike Tyson. Tommy Fury is not even, a great. But speaking of, what the fuck happened to Tommy Fury? Because I haven't heard his name once since that fight. But anyway, at least it was a real boxer, and it was a guy that at least had a credible name. You know what I mean? Like, we know who the Fury family is. We know they're a fighting family. So at least he had the balls to get in there with a real boxer, and it was a pretty good fight. Like, when I say good, I don't mean, oh, that was a great fucking fight. I just mean it was competitive. It was a close fight. Jake scored a knockdown in the fight. We know the kid could punch, and the kid could fight. Listen, you don't get in the ring with whatever Fury's record was, 10-0, whatever it was. You don't get in the ring with a 10-0 boxer who comes from a fighting bloodline and put up a really close, good fight and drop the guy if you can't fight. That just doesn't happen. So I think the whole silliness with the oh, he's a YouTuber. I mean, bro, he's been boxing for how many years now? You know what I'm saying? Again, is he a championship level boxer? I don't think so, and I don't think, at least not right now. I don't know where he ends up in his life, but no, he's not. But I mean, he's calling him a YouTuber. I feel like if it paints a false picture of some random kid like myself. I don't even consider myself a YouTuber, and I probably have 400 or 500 videos on my YouTube page. I don't really consider myself a YouTuber. This is not what I do with my life. This is, my kids are out somewhere right now. They're at a dance class. Me and my wife alternate when we take them and shit. So I'm home right now. I got done some of the shit that I had to get done. I got a couple of minutes, so I'm gonna hop on here and I'm gonna give my take on it. I don't really consider myself a YouTuber. I don't really consider myself anything except who I am, to be honest with you, because music is probably one of my number one hobbies, and I don't really consider myself a rapper either. It's just something I do. So anyway, not to go on a rant about that, but I just think it just paints such a false picture when we say, "Oh, he's fighting a YouTuber." He's fighting a 28-year-old big strong kid that's been boxing for over 5 years now. Now, as far as the actual fight is concerned, right? I don't really know what the seriousness of this fight is. And I am not one of these people that's, oh, the judges were paid off, or the fight is rigged, or this guy threw the fight, or this guy's pulling punches. Am I saying that no fishy business ever goes on in boxing? I am not saying that at all. At all. There's bad judging. There's probably corrupt shit that goes on. It's not as often and it's not as blatant as people think. What's funny is people have this obsession with judges being paid off. There's this obsession with people throwing fights. They have all these obsessions with all these things. But most of it is smoke and mirrors. There is shit that happens like that sometimes, but most of that is smoke and mirrors. What's not smoke and mirrors is that pretty much everybody is on PEDs. And I made a video addressing this one time before, and I'm going to say this really quickly again. I'm just going to change my wording a little bit. I said almost every fighter is on PEDs, and I still kind of stand by that statement, but I want to be clear what I was talking about. I'm not talking about the guys that are 1-14. Those guys are probably not on PEDs. Some of them may be, some of them may not be, but I just want to be clear. When I say almost every fighter is on PEDs, I'm talking about championship level guys. I'm talking about pound-for-pound fighters. I'm talking about elite guys in their weight divisions. I'm talking about somebody who holds at least one world title in their weight class or has at some point, things like that. 90% of those guys are on PEDs. It is what it is. And again, I'm not saying this. This is not a random hunch I have. I don't like blowing up spots. This is shit I know. I know this stuff. So believe what you want. Believe that all these fights are thrown. Every time somebody has a bad night, just believe that he threw the fight. Every time a judge, scores a close fight, 116, 112 for the other guy, say he was paid off. Do what you want, right? Keep paying for fights that you think are rigged or whatever you want. I'm telling you that the majority of the time, that's not the case. And I'm also telling you the majority of the time, a lot of these guys are on PEDs. Just is what it is. Now, the reason I say that is I don't know what the deal with this fight is, okay? I don't know if this is like a real fight. I should probably look into a little more of the details of the fight. I don't know how many ounces the gloves are that they're wearing. I don't know what size the ring is. I don't know if it's 2 or 3 minute rounds. I don't know if there's any weird rules that we don't know about. I believe in the Tyson versus Roy Jones exhibition that it was either not being scored or you weren't allowed to knock somebody out, whatever it was. I don't remember the exact details. That was another fight that I wasn't really overly interested in, which is weird for me to say this because, like I just said to you before, Tyson's my favorite fighter of all time. But, I mean, the man is 58 years old, bro. Like, that just is what it is. I don't give a fuck who you are. You're 58 years old, you're 58 years old. Now, that doesn't mean that Tyson can't still fuck somebody up. That doesn't mean that Tyson's not in better shape than 90% of the other 58-year-olds on planet Earth. I'm not saying any of that. I'm just saying he's still 58. So I will say this. If this is just a show, if this is just an exhibition, if this is rigged in any way, and when I say rigged, I don't mean rigged as in like, okay, you're going to fall in the third round. That's not what I mean. I mean rigged in the sense of where there's some sort of agreement where, okay, Mike, you're not going to take Jake's head off, and listen, Jake, he's 58 years old. You could put a little bit of pop on your shots, but we're not going to go ham on this old man or whatever. I don't know. I don't know what the agreements are. I don't know if there's things in the contract. I don't know if there's verbal agreements. There could be nothing. I will tell you this. The things that Tyson has been saying recently have been very entertaining. I've heard Tyson say that he's going to stop smoking for this fight because he's very irritable and mean when he stops smoking, and he really wants to hurt this young man. And back in the day, yeah, Tyson was a little more savage. He's a little calmed down now and shit. But I think it's almost scarier now because back in the day when these things would happen with Tyson, right? It's not that they were fake. They were real. But what you had was a man that was borderline losing control of his emotions, right? We don't have that anymore. We have a grown man that's been through a lot, that's lost a daughter and everything else, that's sitting there very calmly and quietly, not losing control of his emotions, and calmly saying, I really want to hurt this young man. So knowing Mike Tyson, and Mike Tyson is a jokester, he is funny, he whatever. But seeing the way that Tyson's training, hearing the things that Tyson's saying, they asked him, "Do you think he could go toe to toe with you?" And Mike said, "Well, I think he should try." So Mike has been funny. Mike has been entertaining. Mike has been scary. But again, he's 58 years old. So when it comes to let's just pretend. And I'm not saying this is wrong, but I'm just saying for the sake of this video, let's just play devil's advocate. Let's just pretend this is a 100% real fight. Let's just say they're wearing 10-ounce gloves. I think they're only going 8 rounds, but I'm just going to be ridiculous and make a bunch of statements here. Let's just say 8-ounce gloves, 10-round fight, 3-minute rounds, whatever, 18-foot ring, whatever it is, right? Pretty standard stuff. If that's the case and this is a real fight, I think Jake Paul is going to win, bro. And the only reason I say that is because of Tyson's age. And I want to point something out here. Just the same way that I pointed out, we keep calling Jake Paul a YouTuber, and I don't really think that that's fair. When I say fair, I don't mean that we're being mean to Jake Paul. I mean, I don't think we're living in reality. Like, you can call him a YouTuber because he has a YouTube page, but the dude's been a professional boxer now for X amount of years. Only fought 1 professional boxer, I get that, or maybe 2. I think he fought 2 professional boxers. It doesn't matter. Point is, the kid obviously takes his shit seriously, and he can fight. Again, he's not a world championship caliber fighter, at least not yet, but he can fight. And he is a big, strong kid, and he's 27, 28 years old, whatever it is. I also think mentally, Jake Paul is in a very good place. I always see Jake Paul meditating. I always see Jake Paul trying to speak things into existence, and I don't know what real effect that has in life, right? I don't know if the law of attraction is real in the sense that when you think things, they're attracted to you, but I do believe in brain power and the placebo effect, right? I've seen studies many times where somebody's given a sugar pill and they say that it made them lose weight or this or that or whatever. So when your mind genuinely believes something to the point where not like a belief in God, but to the point where I could say to you, I believe that I have a beard on my face. I believe that. I genuinely, wholeheartedly, no doubt about it, know that I have a beard on my face. I think that there are things in life where when you are like that in your mind, it helps you. It doesn't mean it's going to happen, but it helps you. It helps you to stay confident. It helps you to stay focused. It helps you to stay calm. And I think when you're in any sport, any competition, especially a fight, a fight game where you could get hurt or killed, I think any advantage that you can have on your side is going to help you, right? So I do like Jake Paul's mentality with a lot of things like that. I want to point something that, in my opinion, is a deal breaker for me right here. And there's plenty of people out there that know this, but I don't hear anybody saying it. And one of the main reasons why it stands out to me could possibly be because Tyson was my favorite fighter of all time. Everybody keeps saying, he looks phenomenal. He looks fast. The power's the last thing to go. Yeah, he's 58 years old, but it's still Mike Tyson. Can we pause for a second? Can we go back 20 years ago to when Tyson was 38 years old? Do we remember what Tyson looked like in the ring at 38 years old? Do you remember what Tyson looked like when he fought Lennox Lewis? Do we remember what Tyson looked like when he fought Kevin McBride? Do we remember this shit? Tyson was in his 30s in those fights. Now, keep in mind, when you hear me say this shit, Tyson's my favorite fighter of all time and one of my favorite humans of all time. So in no way, shape, or form am I coming on here to bash Tyson at all. I'm just being 100% honest with you. Those were fights that hurt my heart, bro. That's my favorite fighter of all time. To watch those things happen to Tyson, especially knowing what Tyson was, and then he lost Cuss, and then he went to prison, and then he bit Holyfield's ear. Watching the thing with Holyfield, watching the thing with Kevin McBride, watching the thing with Lennox Lewis, those were all gut-wrenching to me because that's my favorite fighter. But they happened, right? So, is Jake Paul Evander Holyfield? No. Is Jake Paul Lennox Lewis? No. Is Jake Paul Kevin McBride? Maybe. Kevin Kevin McBride really wasn't that great, bro. My point in saying this is, even let's just say no to that. Is Jake Paul Kevin McBride? Let's just say no. No, he's not, right? Okay, fair. But Mike Tyson's also 58 years old now, not 38 years old. So when you have a guy who looked the way he looked at 21, 22, 23 years old, right? And we thought, wow, this guy's going to be the greatest of all time. And some still consider him to be the greatest of all time. Which is, I'm not here to argue or debate that. That's fair. Think what you want. The point that I'm trying to make is we all witnessed Tyson go from here to here, okay? Now, there were certain people, Manny Pacquiao, Floyd Mayweather, right? When you watch them at 35, 36, 37, 38, 39 years old, compared to when they were 27, 28, 29 years old, there's a difference. You can see that they're not quite the same as they used to be. But they were so good, they were all the way up here, that even when they declined down to this level, everybody else was still over here. So when they declined, they were still above everybody else. When Tyson declined, he started losing to not only other people that were his peers, but he started losing to people that he shouldn't have been losing to, right? We could sit here and make the argument, well, who would have won between Tyson and Lewis in their prime? Maybe Tyson, maybe Lewis. I don't know. We can make that argument, right? The reason we can make that argument is because of what a great champion Lennox Lewis was. We can't really make that argument with Kevin McBride. We all know damn well that Mike Tyson in his prime smashes Kevin McBride. We all know this. But Mike Tyson in his late 30s got beat by Kevin McBride. So it's very hard for me to sit here and say at 58 years old that Mike Tyson's going to get in the ring in a real fight with a big, strong 27 or 28-year-old kid who's been training his ass off for the past 6 years of his life and has to be a little bit scared to get in the ring with Mike Tyson, right? And if you can use fear, Tyson talks about this all the time, if you can use fear in the right way, it can work for you if you don't allow your fear to control you. I actually remember, I'll give you a perfect example. I never had good defense in my boxing days. I got hit a lot, and quite frankly, most of the time I didn't really care. I'll tell you right now, one of the main reasons, and this is not to say I allowed myself to get hit, but one of the main reasons why I was more focused on other things. I always had a very good chin, even against bigger people. I would fight people 20, 30, 40 pounds heavier than me, and they couldn't really hurt me. They could, daze me for a second, but they would have to put together a 2 or 3 punch haymaker combination to even put me down. And I have been dropped by people before, so I don't want to sound like I'm Superman, but when it comes to people my weight and shit like that, I can't really see anybody putting me down. The kid that I fought in the Golden Gloves is 4 or 5-0 with 3 knockouts as a professional fighter right now, and he was nowhere near putting me down. The ref gave me 2 standing 8 counts because my head snapped back, and that's the way that amateur boxing works, but I was nowhere near going down in that fight. So when it comes to people my weight and my size and stuff like that, I have a very, 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 very good ability to take a punch. I also punch very hard. So I like to catch and shoot, and I like to catch people in between their shots. So if I'm convinced, especially if I've felt your power and I'm like, oh, this dude can't hurt me, I'll trade shots with you, because when I catch you, you're going to feel it a lot more than when you catch me. So I noticed when I would fight people that scared me a little bit, right? 220 pound, my friend Marcus, he's, rest in peace to my boy. He was 210 pounds. He was probably 5'8", very, very solid, strong kid, not fat, could fight, tough kid. I think I boxed him twice in my life. Maybe I made that mistake twice. And he stopped me both times. But my point in saying all this is my defense was better in those fights, because I didn't want that motherfucker hitting me. He still got me, right? And he still got me out of there. But if you watch me in those fights and you watch me in other fights against people my size, you can tell that I actually have an ability to have a better defense than I show against people my size. And that's because I was more focused on other things. When you fight somebody that you're scared of, not in the sense that you won't get in the ring with them, or not in the sense that you're not trying to win the fight, but in the sense that, like, man, I can't let this dude catch me clean. It helps you to not get caught clean because you genuinely don't want to. So I think if Jake could use that fear to his advantage, it could work for him. This video has already gone on longer than I wanted it to, so I'm going to wind up hopping off of here now. I think I got everything that I wanted to say out, but to end this video again, I really think it's wild that they're allowing, if this is what's going on, that they're really allowing an almost 60-year-old man, I don't give a fuck what his name is or what he did when he was 28 years old, to get in the ring with a 28-year-old professional boxer, a big, strong kid, especially considering that not only is Tyson almost 60, but he's had health issues. This fight already got canceled once because of a health issue. So to me, the whole thing is kind of strange. Like I said, I don't know, if there's any verbal or contractual agreements where there's weird rules or whatever the case is. But if this is just a real fucking fight and they're going to go in there and fight, I'm rooting for Mike Tyson. But I'm sorry, man. I just think Jake Paul is going to win this fight. I'm sorry. I don't care what your name is. I don't care what you've done. If you're 58 years old and you're going against a big, strong kid that can fight, I'm going to have to pick him. Listen, if Tyson lands one, we're really going to see, what Jake is made of. And I know we've been saying this, and Tyron Woodley caught Jake with a pretty good one. And, Jake took it pretty well. Like, he got stumbled, but he recovered very well, didn't go down, stuff like that. Tyron Woodley ain't no Mike Tyson, but we know mentally, at least, Jake Paul seems pretty tough and doesn't seem to have a weak chin. Again, he's never been hit by anybody like Mike Tyson. So if Mike Tyson really lands, a big shot or a combination, we're really going to fucking see what Jake Paul is made of. But again, man, like I said, I just can't pick a 58-year-old man to win a real fight against a 27 or 28-year-old kid who's in good shape. And I don't know. I hope I'm wrong. I hope Tyson wins this fight, but that's my take on it. Peace.